nothing like to really know somebody. I just wanna be enough for you as I try to find the words inside my say. I'll do anything, tell you everything for your energy. Oh, this is chemistry.
Thank you all for being here and helping us kick off the next episode of CheMinistry. So today we're going to be talking about a blueprint to a healthy relationship in commemoration to my newly released book, Relationships Matter. So our first couple can be seen on the hit reality TV show, Love and Marriage Huntsville. They own multiple businesses in Huntsville, Alabama, and have been married for 17 years. Please welcome Marceau and Letitia Scott. The next couple have been married for almost 13 years. Welcome Sasha, the Diva Harris, who is a syndicated radio personality, and her husband, Kevin Harris Sr., who is a retired and well-respected chief officer in fire services. All right, guys, the next couple have been married for over 7 years. Let's welcome actor, director, and martial artist Michael Jai White and his wife Gillian White, who is also an actress and martial artist. And now for our relationship expert, Jack A. Daniels, a psychotherapist, founder of Good Men's Club, and former host of Black Love. Welcome, Jack. So it would only be befitting to start with you, Michael. I watched a video of you on your wife's IG page, and you talked about your dating life prior to getting married and how you dated, multiple women and the workout, the physique, and then you chose to marry Gillian. Why did you get married?
I like that.
Play on words.
That was good. She worked on that one. Well, I realized she was the one that got away.
Okay.
And I was working on, we dated 27 years ago. We met a long time ago. And I was so used to relationships being, like dramatic and all kinds of stuff like that. And we were on good behavior with each other, but we didn't demand anything of each other. Mm-hmm. And we ended up losing each other along the way. And then whenever we stayed friends, and every time we'd run into each other, our peer group, our friends would always be like, who was that? Like, y'all, something about y'all chemistry, just like clicked. And it was even like beyond, my really understanding what I had. Mm-hmm. I was doing a movie, and I had a bout with some cold medicine, and I thought I was going to die. It was crazy, but But anyway, I overreacted, thought I was going to die, ended up realizing that, you know what? If I die, she was the one that got away. Let me call her and let her know that.
Oh, wow.
But, and so I lived.
Yay.
And then I'm like, I just put that out there. And then we followed through with it. But, and the thing that you're referring to, it was something I wrote something down, and I thought it was going to be shared with my Facebook friends. And it was an apology to my exes. And what that was I always thought that what women wanted out of the man or me or whatever was something that was unattainable, right?
Okay.
And it was like, I wouldn't want to be around somebody every day, talk to them I was still, doing my playing thing and whatever. But then I got to a point where there was somebody who I missed every day, I never got tired of talking to, who was my best friend. And I was like, oh my God, that's what everybody wanted of me.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is you guys had a foundation of friendship.
Yeah, and it didn't take work. It didn't take work. I was with my best friend, and every time I had more fun with her than any of my male friends. And when I realized this, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what women wanted of me, and it is attainable. It is somebody who I want to see every day of my life. Like, it's never been, like, a lot of times you want your time to yourself. It's understandable. You want to, have your time, whatever. I've never had that moment. I never wanted to be without her.
Okay.
And so that's what that's what I said, apology to my exes. Mm-hmm. And I put it out there, and I thought I was going to share it with my Facebook friends, but it went viral.
It absolutely did go viral.
Yeah.
It absolutely did. So Gillian, knowing what you knew, in the context of friendship, because I'm sure maybe he shared some things with you that men may not typically share with women because of the friendship, why did you get married?
Oh, I wasn't going to let this one get away, for one. But no, honestly, we had been friends for, like you said, 27 years. And I had been in a previous relationship that was not good. Mm-hmm. And like with most women, when we go through bad relationships, sometimes we're a little traumatized. We're a little bitter, a little angry. Mm-hmm. And I kind of was like, I'm good, I'm in. I'm good. I'm just going to, take care of me. And he called me that day with, I think I'm going to die, and I've got to tell you, I've always loved you, and you were the one you got away. And I was like, wow, maybe I need to change my mind, Okay. And so I was actually afraid because Mike was an actor. I'm an actor too, but he was an actor. He had groupies, girls that liked him. Nice body. Mm-hmm. He was a good catch. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I want to take a chance with that and get hurt again. Okay. So I was a little on the edge with actually getting back with him.
So how did you manage that? Like, how did you get to the point where you guys got? Because that had to be scary.
It was scary. It was scary. I was fragile. I was a little vulnerable at the time. But he told me something one day. He said, I lost you once before, and I'm not ever going to lose you again. So I'd be a fool to make any mistake to lose you again. Right. And when he said those words, I was like, wow. It hit me so hard, and it felt so genuine. And I just was in love with him anyway. So it's not like I didn't want to be with him, right. But I was scared. Right. And when he said those words, I had to let down all those defenses, all those walls I put around myself to protect myself in my heart. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad I did, because we have been so happy since. So
it sounds like he gave a level of reassurance.
He did.
Right.
He made me feel secure.
Absolutely.
When I was feeling very insecure. So
that's good. Guys, you hear that, right? We just need a little reassurance.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin.
Oh, you didn't want to go to
Kevin.
Yes.
So you and Miss Sasha, you guys have been married for what, 13 years?
13 years.
Why did you get married?
We met through a mutual friend, and just had a great conversation. We had a lot of things in common. Ended up being my best friend, as Mike said. And we've been together literally, other than business, we spend every day together. Our daily routine is to get up and go get our coffee. And she has her career, and she does all her social media videos. She's always trying to plug me, and I'm always in the back saying, no, get away.
How did you know she was the one?
I don't know. It's, you just know. It's like we're connected. A lot of times we're in the house, and we're thinking the same thing.
Okay.
And we'll be like, I was thinking that. But we just enjoy traveling, we enjoy just doing a lot of the same things. So you just know, I can't even explain it. It's if I had to spend my day with anybody, it would be my wife. I do enjoy, we give each other our space as well.
Right,
so what was the show? We was looking at some show, and this woman, well, I won't name the show in here, but she's tracking this guy on his phone, and I couldn't hardly imagine what that would be like. So we do give ourselves our fair space.
Your space. But what I hear, the common thread is friendship, starting with a level of friendship. So, Miss Sasha.
This is going to be long.
He is so evil.
How did you know? Why did you get married? And how did you know he was the one?
Girl, when he walked in that restaurant, 6'6", with them broad shoulders, sat there in front of me looking fine, with 16 and a half shoe. Which I said, good God. And then the conversation. So we met at this restaurant. He's calling me, asking me where am I, and I'm inside of the restaurant. You're not going to try to check me. I'm checking you. And when he comes in and he sits there, the conversation was so easy. Mm-hmm. We could talk about anything. And I was really digging him, and then I wasn't digging him, and I walked away from him. Because I had told him, I called him one day and said, hey, you're real nice and everything, but you're really not my type, and you're not aggressive enough for me, and I need to check out. I ended it. Okay. Then I came back.
Okay. All right. Well, she came back.
I came.
She didn't have much of a choice. Jack.
Yeah.
Jump on in this conversation, because what I really want to dive into is how the process of getting to the point where they decide, okay, this person is the one for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I want to talk a little bit about the foundation of friendship and how important it is to really developing healthy relationships.
It's extremely important, especially, so first of all, I've counseled, and I kind of want to talk from the perspective of men. I've counseled hundreds of men, and the truth behind what men are thinking is this. One, friendship is extremely important. If you're friends, it makes a huge difference, because I can't be in the same household with somebody that I'm not cool with. The second thing that they really need is honesty. If I'm your friend, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to hide anything. We're not going to have any trust issues. We're not going to hide anything behind each other's backs. And then the third thing is just, I need somebody that I can be faithful to and that's going to be faithful to me. Absolutely. Be friends, be honest, be faithful. And if you forget any of those, repeat steps 1 through 3.
Okay, so you know I'm going to play devil's advocate, because you said be faithful. And you know, in today's culture, we have a lot of this multiple dating, right? Before you even get to the point of being faithful. So talk to us about how to navigate, for those of us who are single and want to be married, like these beautiful couples up here. Help us navigate that process of how to get to the point where he's like, I want to be exclusive with you.
Yeah, I think it's about being open and honest, though. Okay. It goes back to the honesty. Tell me what it is that you want up front versus stringing me along and then eventually finding out, you know what, I kind of want to bring somebody else into this relationship. I kind of want an open relationship. I kind of don't think I can commit. You know, see, men know who are freaks, friends, or forever women. We know.
Freaks, friends, and what was the last one?
You are either the men have categories. You are either the freak, friend, or you the forever. The freak is the straight up drop it like it's hot, no questions asked. You know she's gonna give it to you, whatever it is that you want. The friend is the person that you can lean on. She has her shoulder. You can cry. You can tell her all of your secrets. The forever is the one that you bring home to mama. She's the one you take to church. She's the one that knows where you work, where you live. She's the one that you know that you could depend on. The problem is there are a lot of forevers who actually are freaks, and men ain't being honest with them.
Wow.
Chanel, you can be all of that to your man, too. Okay. Everything that he just said in a relationship, it's nothing wrong with being a freak, okay? You think freak is so bad, but what you do in your bedroom is your business. So be a freak to your man and let your man be a freak to you.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that once you get to the stage where you guys are married.
Exactly.
But I want to talk to the Scotts. Marceau, why did you get married?
Why did I get married? Well, you know, she's my third girlfriend of my life.
Okay.
And so throughout college, I really didn't have a girlfriend. I played as Omega Psi Phi at HBCU, so wasn't really a lot of room for girlfriends.
That came with a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to manage. But at any rate, I remember we worked at the same place, and probably a little awkward in today's society, but I remember as she walked in, I could not stop staring at her. And for all the game that I thought I had, the only thing I could say to her as she walked past me was, you look like a real woman. And that was it. You know, we exchanged number. I gave her my number, told her, you know, if you want, you know, give me a call. At any rate, we just started talking like friends. We were on the phone just talking, and we went on our first date. And that was, I asked her to go to Home Depot with me because I was flipping this house while I was in school. And I remember me going there and picking out the tile and coming back in. She just kind of put her arms around me and said, wow, this is going to look so nice. And I really felt like she believed in me.
Okay.
And that was the moment I just kind of said, man, I'll be with her forever.
All right. Aww. All right, guys, when we come back, we'll continue this conversation on a blueprint to a healthy relationship.
Oh, this is chemistry.
Welcome back to CheMinistry. We are talking about a blueprint to a healthy relationship. So now I'm going to direct my next question to Letitia Scott. What work, if any, did you do to prepare for marriage?
Let's see. Actually, when we met, I was a senior in college, so I wasn't even thinking about marriage. I was more so thinking about my career and moving out of Alabama. So I would say I actually worked on me. Like, I had me together. So it wasn't about, a man coming along. I was single because I just wasn't focused on relationship at all. So I would say the thing I did was I had Tisha together.
Okay. So Sasha, what coming out of a first marriage, right, and going into a second marriage, what work did you do to prepare for marriage?
I really didn't do any work. I just watched my parents, who were married for 46 years before my dad passed away. And I watched that relationship, the love, the support, the oneness, family, eating together, the submissiveness of my mother to a husband. And a lot of times people don't want to hear about the submissive, a woman being submissive. So watching them helped me get prepared to be a wife. But one of the things my dad had to say to me one time was, okay, look at here, chickadee, you can't be the man and the woman. So which is it going to be? I need you to back down a little bit because of that alpha personality. You want a real man, and a real man and how you are is too much. And I was like, whatever, child. But my daddy was right, because I found the real man and I was okay to be submissive to a real man. And his name is Kevin Boo.
Okay, all right. But I gotta ask you, right? Because this is your second marriage.
Yes.
What did you do different this time that you didn't do the first time?
So the first time it was, I was pregnant and it was play. I wanted to be married, but I wanted to be married and I didn't want to be married. And I just wanted to put a gown on. I wanted to be at the church. I wanted to say I do and all of that. And I did it, and I did it without my father being there. And my father told me, I'm not coming to something that's not going to last. And I give you 5 years. And my father hit it on the nose. So it was nothing wrong with him. I didn't really know myself. I wasn't in my career. I had this young kid. I'm just like all over the place. So he didn't hate me. I didn't hate him. We were really cool. And I just decided one day that this was not good for me. And I wanted to move on and ended the relationship. And we just co-parented. That's it.
Well, Kevin, I have the same question for you, coming out of a first marriage and going into a second. What did you do differently?
Got my credit together. So, got my credit together. I'd probably say I had to work on my patience. I realized probably later on that I was a kid that suffered from abandonment. My dad died when I was 6. Typical story. But you don't realize how it affects you. So most of my relationships, I actually became the abandoner. So a lot of times you'll find yourself, before things get bad, you'll like dip out, like this looks like it's getting bad. So you have to do some self-reflection. And meeting my wife, she's been like the rock in our family through thick and thin. And you just have to work on yourself, whatever that is, whether it's patience, whatever shortcomings you have, work on those first.
Okay. So Jack, talk about the work needed to prepare for marriage.
I think it's extremely important what Kevin said. When you're talking about marriage, you're talking about 3 things that contribute to it. One are other married people. And what I mean by that is the modeling behavior that you've seen in your past. The second portion of that is men and the stories that they carry, women and the stories that they carry about some of the trauma that they've had, some of the things. Oftentimes what people do is they prepare for the wedding and not for the marriage. Especially when you're talking about women. They ask, well, as soon as someone says, I'm engaged, here's the ring, the first thing they ask, oh, girl, where's your dress going to be like? Well, where's your wedding going to be? What color are you wearing? All of those different things. No one comes in and says, hey, we have here are some things that you need to know about marriage. So I think that the preparation part in terms of understanding what I'm getting into, what love story does this person actually have, in terms of how he came up, how she came up, some of the trauma that they're carrying. I need to understand what I'm getting myself into so that we can have something to combat and to communicate against when we are married and not just going for the wedding.
Absolutely. Okay, that's real good. So Michael, talk to us about the preparation work you did after coming off of a second marriage and off of a first marriage and going into a second marriage.
Well, basically, I had to do work on myself. Simply when I got with Gillian, I had to do work because she was just simply a better person than me. Simply.
Can you tell us more about
honesty? I just know if I didn't see, I allowed myself to be 90, 95% like legitimate. Like I allow myself like a 10 to 5% that I needed to clean up.
Okay.
On my side, or I would have sabotaged the relationship. I knew I had to become the man that she deserved.
Okay.
Right? So I knew this, and so I then went 100 on everything. So no line, no even, not even the slightest lie by omission. Things I allowed myself. There was a allowance I allowed myself for a long time that I said, no, that's not going to ever happen because I will sabotage it. I will know that I don't deserve this woman. And so I did my work so she'd be crazy to be without me.
So look, I want to ask you a question though. You talked about, that's good. I heard you say that you knew in that moment that you didn't deserve this woman. Do you think men sabotage relationships when they don't think that they're good enough for a woman?
Absolutely.
And what does that look like?
Absolutely, because that's why sometimes if you don't clean up your own thing, you'll justify why she should leave you. That's the whole nucleus of insecurity. You know what I mean? Because you feel like you don't deserve this. A woman's superpower is love. Right? And if you out there, because we have peer pressure, we have a lot of things that we're developing under just generations of the black buck syndrome and being praised for what your sexual prowess and everything else.
Yeah.
I even had my father and I borrowed father figures, and I grew up thinking. A good man is somebody who had their side chicks in line.
Wow.
And men I looked up to, and great men, people that were very respected, had this ethic. And I had to go beyond what they thought, because I understand the trauma over generations that we come up under. What's up, player? What's up, pimp? Like, that's a good damn thing.
Right, absolutely.
That's not a good damn thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the accolades of what a black man is, I had to shed all of that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's some of the things that we're dealing with. That if you got your side things over here, that's good. A good man is the ones that keep them over here, and you got your side chicks in check. I really thought that's how you did it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I had to do that kind of work. I had to dispel all that craziness. Really, deep down, going, that has no place in my life.
Okay.
You know? So that's the stuff that we're dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Gillian, so you coming out of a first marriage, how did you not self-sabotage this relationship? Like, how did you not bring in those experiences? Because I listened to your pre-interview, right? So how did you not take that experience and bring it to this relationship?
Well, like I said, I almost did. You know, when you're full of trauma from a bad relationship, it's hard to see the next person as an individual. You see them as they're going to be exactly the same way. And I had to really do some soul searching and just tell myself, I'm going to lose a really good thing if I don't get myself together, which is letting go of all the stuff that I had in my last relationship that hurt me so bad and opening up and giving Michael a chance.
Okay.
You know, I had to open up my heart again. I had to do all those things because, and even my mom and my sister were like, you're crazy if you let him go. Because I knew he was such a good guy, but I was so like holding so much in, you know, and I always tell women so, you know, a lot of times I'm like, you know, you can't, the new man is not the old man. You cannot compare. You can't go, well, he used to be like this, so he's probably gonna do the same thing. No. And Mike was a good guy, and because I knew him for so long, I knew he was a good guy, and I know, you know, he had his little, you know, little play. I knew all that, but you know, I knew that together we would grow and build something beautiful with, you know, being honest with each other.
All right, so Jack, can you give us some practical principles on how, like for us single women, because I'm still single, right, on how not to ruin an opportunity because we have baggage or insecurities or issues that we are bringing from other situationships? I'm not even going to call them relationships because they're not. They're situationships.
Yeah. You got to do the work. And what I mean by doing the work is doing the work to heal some of the things that you've actually been carrying along all of your life. You know, in terms of men, most men are afraid to admit how much we need women in our lives to compensate for the lack of love that we actually have for ourselves. Wow. We carry around so many things that we are hurt by. And if you ask any man this question, who hurt you? I promise you that he will open up and he will tell you some of the things that now you may not like what he says. You may not like the fact that he talks about how his uncle punched him in his chest and didn't say anything and just walked away. You might not like the fact that he talked about the molestation or some of the things that he's gone through in terms of police brutality, all the things. But the thing is we are hurt and we're carrying around some of these baggage. And I think that oftentimes, if you just channel that energy into the right direction by saying, you know what, here is who I am, here is what I have, and here is some of the work that I need to do with myself before I come into a relationship, because if I bring this into the relationship, it's just going to trickle into something that is not healthy.
That's good. All right, guys, so when we come back, we're going to get into the bedroom with a conversation around intimacy. CheMinistry will be right back.
This is CheMinistry.
Welcome back to CheMinistry. If you've just tuned in, we're talking about a blueprint to a healthy relationship. But now I want to talk a little bit about intimacy. As you know, intimacy encompasses more than just sex, right? And it's important to any relationship. But I want to first start by defining, Jack, what is intimacy? Because we seem to have some guests who equates intimacy to just sex. I ain't gonna call no names.
Intimacy is closeness. It's not defined as just sex, but it's anything that helps you grow a little bit closer to your partner. I'll say it like that.
Okay. So, Marcel, in your interview, you said that sex was the single most important thing in marriage. I need you to elaborate on that statement, sir.
Now, I'll tell you this. A lot of times I've heard this in the past that people say things like, oh, there's an 80-20 rule. Why would you leave your 80% for this 20% over here, right? Well, let's just think about that. Will your bank accept 80% of your mortgage? Would you accept 80% of an Uber ride and they just leave you 20% away from your destination? At the end of the result, 20% is a lot. All right, it's not 99.1, it's 20 whole percent. All right, you wouldn't take 80% of your job and just leave the 20% on the table. When you get married, when you're in a relationship, some of the things that define relationships are, spending money on someone, communication, time, sex. These things are inflection points in relationships. When you get married, you only say that I'm going to leave one of these things for my spouse. Everything else I'll do with everyone else. Meaning that with your kids, with your parents, with your friends, you can spend time with. You can spend money on, you can laugh, they can comfort you, they can do all those different things. Except the one thing that you reserve for your spouse is sex. And so when you take that off the table, what you're saying is that I can't get this in a marriage. And I'd hate for people to go out there and think, especially women, to underestimate how important sex is in a relationship. Because once you say no, you're now in a sexless relationship. Once you take it off the table, now you're saying this guy can't have sex.
Okay, so Marcel, you said in your pre-interview that sex is the single most important thing in the marriage. And if there is no sex, then why even get married, right? But then we have the vows in sickness and in health. So how do you explain that?
I explain that because, let's keep it 100. Guys ain't complaining about women, their wives that are not having sex when they're unhealthy, all right? Okay. We're talking about healthy sex. We're talking about, I don't feel like it tonight sex. We're talking about like, oh, we've been missing, we only did it once this month sex. But that's what we're talking. That's really what we're talking about. And so the idea of it is that you guys or women sometimes may think that it's an additive or added bonus. I'm telling you, it's a basic essential. And if you don't believe it, then outsource it.
Oh my God.
Is that not fair?
God.
Okay,
is that not fair?
Outsource it.
Outsource it.
Hey, one last point.
What are your thoughts on this? Because you said in your interview that you got it 90% of the time, and then the other 10% is just like, okay, whatever.
I don't know what Marcel talking about.
He ain't riding with you, Marcel.
Marcel, I hadn't had sex this year.
Kevin.
I'm just kidding. What was the question? I'm still shocked. Ask me the question again.
How important is sex in the relationship?
I will piggyback and say it is important in a relationship.
But it's not the single most important thing in the relationship.
No, because most of the time, I mean, for me, just us being in each other's company is good. And half the time, we own several businesses and we primarily work from home. I have my office and she has her office. By the time we get into bed, hell, we tired. Okay. It's important, but it's not. I mean, it's not the only thing.
Can I ask him a question?
Yes, go ahead.
I want to ask him a question. I want to ask just a real quick question.
3 minutes.
What is the one thing in a marriage? If she said, hey, listen, I'm going to take this off the table, what would you immediately think about divorce for? Would you say, if she said, you know what, I don't ever want to work with you again?
Communicate.
I don't ever want to talk to you again.
If she stopped talking, I mean, there's
Michael, I'm going to get you in on this.
I agree, because if her mouth starts working, I'll stop.
Take on this, because I know that Gillian said that you guys are extremely attracted to each other. So I don't know if the same thought process exists on this side.
Yeah, well, I'm a little weird in this situation. Well, personally, I mean, if there's a movie that she don't want to watch, I don't even want to watch it because my enjoyment is giving, is the reciprocal. That when you are connected and you kind of vibrate on a certain level, it brings things to a place where you never have to think about anybody else. So my thinking is that I feel like the sex is for the woman.
I agree.
Because I think like this. Okay, women are the ones that get their hair done, the pampering and everything else. That's for the woman, right? Okay. Women can have 5 different orgasms. Men, we have basic. But
okay.
To me,
did you tell him that, Gillian?
I think to pamper the woman
can do it.
Is the man's. I mean, we have the stamina, we have the angst, the things to work out. I mean, it kind of balances out to me. So, in a way, a lot of people talk about the, like it's for the man. Like I feel like if you take care of the woman's needs, not only is it better for you.
I agree.
But you don't have to ask anymore.
Can we get an amen?
Hey, just to be
That's right,
clear,
make some noise.
Hey, just to be clear, I was not saying that it's not the guy's job to do that. I'm saying it's important.
Absolutely, sex is important, but sometimes we have to think, if I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I have to do work, I have to cook, I got to take care of the kids, I have social activities, I'm taking care of my family. Sometimes I'm just damn tired. Okay, I get home, I gotta jump in the shower, I'm exhausted. I take the wig off, I take the dress off, I get in the bed, I'm exhausted.
Sasha, let me ask you something. How much is enough sex? How much sex is
I gotta
enough?
be honest, at one point I wanted it every day, 2-3 times a day in the car. Okay, I'm just telling you, I was that girl. In time, I've paused a little bit. I mean, because I'm just tired. And with me, sometimes I'm extremely anemic and I get exhausted really fast sometimes. I need to go to sleep. But when he wants this, all he got to do is turn over and take it. Sasha. I'm not fighting him here, just here.
She's sleeping right now.
Oh my God. So, Gillian, how much is enough sex?
Never enough. I'm just being real, and see, now I have to say, because he brought it up, but he's a giver. You know what I mean? And I've gotten spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? But it is important. I will say that I agree. It's a very important part. But it's I'm trying to think. I know we on TV. I like to reciprocate just as well, but he loves making me happy. And it's okay because, like you said, when you do, it makes me more open and more, wanting to always, basically, if he says, I need it, I'm giving it. Put it that way. It's just, okay. It's not a question for me,
Right. So I'm gonna ask the ladies, how important is being submissive in your marriage? And just talk to me about how that looks.
I think being submissive is important. I feel like you have to figure out what works best for your marriage and be the woman that you need to be for your husband. So that's very important in our household. My husband is the head and I allow him to lead, So I try to cater to him, and we used to butt head at first, but as you grow and develop, and especially within your marriage, you guys learn each other, so.
But you can't be submissive to everybody. You have to be deserving of that. You have to be the man. Be the man and and lead your house, okay? And I'm not talking about just financially. My husband runs the household. I'll see my husband out in the yard. We have a yard person that cuts the grass. My husband's still out there doing his thing. And I'll go out there and say, honey, you want some iced tea? Or do you need some help? We have to support each other. So whenever my husband needs me to do anything, I am going to do it for him. The word submissive is not a bad thing. This man has showed me his heart. And because he showed me his heart and he does everything for me to be that submissive woman for him, I'm going to do it. And I don't give a damn about what other people doing in their relationship. That's why the hell they don't have no relationship.
Absolutely. So, Jack, how important is it to the man that the wife is submissive? How important is that?
I think it's extremely important. And the thing I will say is that even though we're living in this time of modern women, boss chicks, chick bosses, boss chickity, chick, all of this, I still have not met a woman, and I've counseled I don't know how many women, that are not like willing and waiting to just ride in the passenger seat for her man, with her man, but a man that has a vision, a plan, some goals, and some insight, and he's driving her somewhere. So I think it's important for men to actually to have that reciprocation, to say, you know what, I want a woman who can submit to me, but it also, it's the flip side. Because it's not just being women submitting to men. Men also have to submit to women.
Okay.
And oftentimes a lot of these church folk, they leave that verse out.
Okay. All right.
You got to keep reading on to that. If you read a little bit further, it says men need to submit to their wives also.
Absolutely.
So I think it's extremely, extremely important that both sides support each other and be submissive to each other.
All right, when we come back, we'll continue the conversation on a blueprint to a healthy relationship.
Oh, this is chemistry.
Welcome back to CheMinistry. Before we went to break, we were talking about intimacy and sex. So, Letitia, I have a question. Has the frequency of sex changed since you've been married? Because I listened to your interview, and you said you scheduled sex at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So then I'm like, well, what happened to 9 p.m., 8 and 7? and how do you manage that, though?
Yeah, I mean, listen, don't get it twisted. Marcel talk a good talk, but he don't get it all the time like that. So we have several businesses, and we have 3 kids. So my schedule is crazy. So yes, I have to schedule it on my calendar. It's on my calendar. You know, we're going to wake up at 4:35 a.m., get it in right quick, and get our day started.
Sounds like a chore.
Oh, well, hey, it's a plan. Just like we have to schedule date night, it is a part of my schedule. Like sometimes, hey, Tisha, you need to go down on your man today. It's on my planner. It's on my schedule. Yeah.
Marcel, how do you handle that? You know you got to fix that.
I had no idea. That would be a problem, and believe it or not, that might be a problem. So thank you for that. We got an argument now.
But maybe that works for her. I mean, everything is not the same for everybody.
But then my question is, was it like that before you got married, or has it changed over the years?
Oh, no, it wasn't like that. Like the diva said, listen, we'll be on 565. Hey, let's get it on right quick. Like, it was before kids. Like, when you don't have kids, everything is about you two. It was just about us. But once we started having kids and our schedules got crazy in business, like, at 8 o'clock, I'm tired. So, yeah, I go to bed at like 8:30. I'm an early bird. That's why it's on my schedule in the morning.
I need to see your schedule.
I need to see your schedule.
You
see the schedule. He see it.
All right, guys, so we're going to pivot the conversation and talk about differences. And every marriage experiences differences in the context of their relationship. So, Sasha, how do you deal with difficulty in the midst of your marriage?
The main difficulties that we had was because we had children with other people, blended families. And that caused major problems in our relationship, how he thought what I thought. Don't be saying nothing about my children. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. I didn't ask for your opinion, but my God, I got married to this man, so he had a right. Those differences, and I have to tell you, Iyanla Van Zandt played a huge role in me facing me on what I was doing wrong in my relationship and with my relationship with my son. So I had to check Sasha first, and that took a second, y'all. That took a second checking. And once I got it checked and started working on self, you know, we don't really have those kind of differences. The kids are the hell out of the house now. Thank you, Jesus.
All right. So, Michael and Gillian, how do you deal with differences? Because well, first of all, I listened to your interview, and you said you guys have only had like maybe 4 arguments as long as you've been
almost hate
married.
answering this question.
Because I want to know how do
lot of people don't
do
believe
that?
us.
Yeah, because I'm like, how do you do that? How do you not argue? Like, you got to tell me that practically.
You know, like she just said, I don't even like to say that, because in all the years that we we've known each other, we might have had three or maybe 4 like minor kind of disagreements that lasted maybe 20 minutes, and we laughing about them later. And the fact is, I want her happiness beyond mine, right? So if she's unhappy, I'm unhappy.
See, that's important.
Right? So that trickles through everything. That goes into the sex. There's no way I want to have sex as she did.
Wow.
So it's never something that, because I know I could have the biggest desire on the planet, and if she's not feeling well, I don't have that desire anymore. I can't even conjure that desire, because that's not what's going to fuel me. What fuels me is the chemistry. You know what I mean? So with everything else, I never want her to feel bad, because I want her to be happy. You know, so no matter what.
Can we clone him?
Yeah, so
Can we clone him? So, Jack, talk to me about practical ways on how couples, married or in a relationship, can deal with conflict.
I always say that it goes back to your GPS. And what I mean by GPS are your guidelines or guidance that you have in terms of modeling that you've been able to receive and some of the things that you've seen over the past. And then in terms of your principles, most marriage couples, they may not state it, they may not know that they have it, but most marriage couples have principles in their marriage. And then it goes back to story. So there's guidance, principles, and storage. So what I mean by guidance is the modeling. The principles are like, what are your founding principles of your relationship? I can tell you that we talked a little bit about being friends, being honest, being faithful. And then the stories that you're telling yourselves when you're arguing. Most of the time, whatever you're arguing about, whatever you're disagreeing about is not the real thing.
Right.
It's the story that's happening for you inside of your head with the trauma that you've carried, with some of the things that you've experienced. And as a result, you're projecting that onto your partner and you're saying, oh, well, I'm going through this, so they must be doing this to me. When it really has nothing to do with them, it has everything to do with the story that you've been telling yourself. So you have to get on the same page when it comes to your stories. Whenever you're in an argument, whenever you're having a disagreement with your partner or your spouse, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? It's not about what that person is doing to you, it's what happened to you, and you're projecting that onto that person.
I think sometimes too, women, we push it. With the dudes, okay? Sometimes we just gotta pull back and just check ourselves and be quiet for a second, because we can keep egging them in something that is so little. And if you think about it, like, my God, if he walked out of here tomorrow and he did not come back, whatever we was just fighting about, was it really that serious?
Right, absolutely. I want to ask Kevin, though, how important is putting ego to the side and admitting when you're wrong?
Well, I'm never wrong. So, actually, truth be told, it's in our house, it's yes, dear. So my ego is always put to the side. I enjoy making sure she's happy even when she's wrong. So an old friend told me one time, he said, look, man, you're married, peace at all costs. So it's not worth it. It's whatever it is usually it's just not that serious. You know, we get into this thing with decorating. She wants to make the whole house black. Look, we're not gonna have a black house. So peace at all costs, as long as the house is not black.
Marceau, I have that same question for you. How important is it to put ego to the side and admit when you're wrong?
Well, I got married when I was 27, and I will say this. One of the tough lessons I've learned, because I'm a very logical thinker, and I can probably talk my way out of anything.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, but the truth is, like, you say, oh, you think you're right. Well, if I didn't think I was right, I wouldn't talk, right? So I think I'm right, but I'm willing to listen too, but I'm only willing to listen to logic. And so, because I could clarify my points in a disagreement, then I could always say, well, get her to see it my way. And then I'd have the same argument the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and I realized, she doesn't really see it my way. No. So I really, really take to heart that a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still.
Men who philosophize what I said, you can articulate, but see, we're emotional beings, right?
And like Jack said, that you have to understand that it's always something different. Mm-hmm. And so you really have to step back and ask yourself, okay, what else? What else are we talking about here? And once you really get to the core of it, at the root, where I'm like everyone is that, hey, there is a problem. No matter what she's articulating the problem is, there is a problem. She is unhappy. Let me deal with the fact that my wife is unhappy in this situation, and let me surgically find out what the problem is. But I have no problem with being wrong. I want to get it right.
So, Jack, how important is it to put your ego aside and be able to admit when you're wrong?
I think it's extremely important, especially when you're talking about a partnership. Mm-hmm. Because if you're talking about a partnership, you can't have one side going one way, the other side going another way. You need to be on the same page. And I think what Marceau was talking about, it's the stories that we tell ourselves. I'll give you a quick example. Say, for instance, Marceau decided not to take, he decided not to take trash out. She asked him to take the trash out in the morning after they just had sex at 5 o'clock because it was on the calendar. He forgot to do it. He goes and he watches a television show. He's sitting around. She comes by. She sees the trash is not out. Mm-hmm. She associates that with the fact that he has ignored her. He constantly ignores her. He doesn't do, and he doesn't respect her. He just forgot to take the trash out.
Mm. So you're saying we look too deep into it. Is that what you're saying?
It's not looking too deep into it. It's the story. His story was, I was going to take the trash out. I got sidetracked because one of the kids needed something. I was going to come back and take the trash out when I got ready or when I got done watching this show. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with him neglecting her, him disrespecting her. I was going to do it on my own time.
Right.
But because she associates it with, these are some of the things that have happened to me in my past. Mm-hmm. These are some of the things that have happened to me because someone else hurt me and did some of these things and they didn't respect me. Sometimes we associate some of those hurt or some of those traumas with the things that are right in front of us. So it's the stories that we tell ourselves. It's not the ego.
When we come back, we'll continue the conversation on A Blueprint to a Healthy Relationship. CheMinistry will be right back.
Oh, this is CheMinistry.
Welcome back to CheMinistry. We're talking about a blueprint to a healthy relationship. So, Gillian, I have a question for you. You talked about you and Michael having a low profile despite working in the entertainment industry. How has that discretion added to the success of your marriage?
Well, I always tell everyone that, even though we're in Hollywood, we're not of Hollywood.
Okay.
We don't care about that actor status or impressing people or look at us, look what we're doing every second of the day. No, we're a couple. We have a family. We take care of our kids. We watch Netflix. We go to comedy shows. We do stuff in the yard. We're just a regular couple. So I don't put a lot of extraness on the whole Hollywood thing. Yes, I'm an actor. I'm on TV. He's an actor. He's on TV. But it doesn't matter, and we don't let that affect or get into our relationship in any way. There's no cracks in our relationship because a lot of times, like we talked about, you have like groupies or naysayers or negative people, and so much negativity. Everybody got to say something about somebody, and people feed off of that. And I feel like, Mike, we don't really have to deal with that because we don't allow people to say anything about us because we don't put that energy out there for anybody to say anything about. I think we get a lot of respect, as individuals and as a couple.
Okay, that's good. So I want to ask Marceau and Letitia, how has working in the public eye impacted your marriage, negative or positive?
Our marriage, we get a lot of heat. We get a lot of heat about our relationship. People see our relationship on TV. They have a lot to say so. I get DMs, I get personal emails, everything. Everybody has an opinion. But honestly, it has brought us stronger, I think. Like, we were like, man, this is us against the world. Like, you may not understand our marriage, you may not understand us, but we know each other and we hold each other accountable. And we was like, we know what goes on in our household. So you have to make sure that foundation is good and strong, and you have to know what you have within each other. So it has definitely strengthened our marriage.
Okay. And Marceau, I know you mentioned something about being able to see yourself and even listening to some of the critics and making some adjustments. Some you throw out, but then some feedback you take into consideration.
Yeah. Part of being successful as a black man in America is to really, a lot of times you have to just not listen to naysayers. All right? And that sometimes can be a problem because growing up and to be successful in a lot of areas in life, you're not listening to the people that say no, that you're doing it wrong. And you have to be steadfast in your own beliefs. So naturally, you grow accustomed to ignoring feedback from other people, especially when they don't know your real story. And just to piggyback off what Tisha said, it's been a real blessing. It's been a real blessing to have a lot of criticism, because we were a tree planted by the water, and we were 10, 11 years in deep before we got any feedback. And for millions and, really, like hundreds of thousands of people are just talking trash about your marriage and calling you stupid and doing all of this stuff right here. And this whole reality TV. And the wind blows, and you get bent, but you don't break. And then you turn around and be like, man, to hell with them.
Right.
And you grow stronger, and you're like, it's us against the world. You can't mess with us. And so now I don't care. And I love the fact that our marriage is so strong, we can handle all of it. And I say, put yours against the test. You do the same thing as ours.
Right. I love that. Jack, I want to ask you, what are ways, because not just in the public eye, but just family, friends giving feedback about marriage, people on the outside, what are ways that couples can manage the backlash or the negative feedback or even the critics or even family who have something negative to say?
Boundaries are important. Setting boundaries is even more important, especially when it comes to family, especially when it comes to friends. What happens between you, your spouse, and your marriage, it's between you. That's why I said you need that GPS. You need those guiding principles and that love story that you have. If you don't have some of those things, then you revert back to everyone else's opinion, everyone else's belief system, and your habits, your beliefs, your attitudes, your expectations, they're all formulated by you. And if you have those principles for yourself, set the boundaries against the world. And I like what Marcia said, it's us against the world. And it doesn't have to be that love-hate type relationship with you and the public or you, your family, or anybody else that's trying to intervene in your marriage. I think it's just important to be able to set boundaries and have the level of balance and believe what you believe and show up for what that is.
Okay. So, but I have a question for Marceau, because I can't let this show go by without asking about the in-laws.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Letitia's mother. I have to ask. I'm sorry. My mother's in the audience.
Yeah.
Ain't no way.
Yeah.
Ain't no way.
I honestly think that, and let me tell you something. Let me just keep it a buck. She's about 85% like that.
That's a lot.
So how do you manage that, though?
The first couple years, it was literally just, hey, I can't do this. I'm not gonna do this. I won't do this. Like you're gonna have to choose. But then after a while, she calmed down for a bit, and then just little bitty, triggers that come up there, and that's just a point of contention in our marriage, because I'm telling you, that's 85%, and even with the hey, set boundaries, and I think that some people in our marriage, not me, let people get away with some stuff that they shouldn't.
I think Letitia's wrong. I think she's wrong. And I have love for you. And I just think some of the things that we see, because we don't see everything.
Right.
I just think you as a wife, and this is your husband, some of the things with your mom's behavior is out of line. Yeah. It is totally out of line. And if it was reversed and his mother was treating you that way, you would want him to check that and end it. So somewhere in there, I have a lot of love for my mom, and tight. We're tight. It is no way my mom would do that to him, to my husband. And I think you're wrong, and you need to fix it.
I hear you.
All right. I love you. I meant to tell you I love you too.
That.
Okay, fine.
I receive it. And I have talked to my mom. I've checked my mom. Me and my mom have had like a fallout, but she's still my mother. So it is a tough position to be in when you have that, because I can't not have a relationship with my mom. And I talked to Marcel because sometimes Marcel, he picks as well. We was just in Mobile this weekend, and they was both going at it. And it's just, it's hard to be in, but I don't know how to change my mom. I can't make her do what I want her to do. I mean, I've suggested, like, she don't come over my house as often. Like, I've set those boundaries with her, but it's like, what more do you do? I don't know.
Have you ever I'm just curious, have you ever had a conversation as to why she does it? Because it's an issue of respect at the end of the day. It's diminished respect.
Or she wants attention.
Could be.
Maybe she's not getting attention and she need a man. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Well, then she need to spend more time with her man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know it's a lot.
The tough part about it is that I can't stop it. I can't stop it, but I just choose not to because of love.
Okay. All right, guys. That's nice. Look, that's nice. Sasha said it. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation on A Blueprint to a Healthy Relationship.
Oh, this is chemistry.
All right, guys, so I'm going to pivot the conversation now. So when you marry, the last portion of the vow says, till death do us part. Divorce shouldn't be an option. Kevin, has there ever been a time where you thought the D word?
Absolutely.
Talk about it.
Most of it was because we were a blended family, and we were having disagreements with the kids, her son. And my position was, I'm not coming into a marriage to try to pull you away from your kid or make you make a decision. So my choice was to, hey, I'm a go, and I don't want to cause any.
That's extreme.
It is extreme, but hell, I'm not about to come between a woman and her child at the end of the day.
But what was the relationship prior to you getting married? Like, it didn't just happen.
The relationship with us?
No, with her son, right?
We had a decent relationship. I think me being a father whose my role, as I look at it, raising kids, is to prepare them for the world. So if I have a son in the house, hey, let me go out here and show you how to change a tire. Let's go out here. We pay people to cut grass. I've got AAA like most of the folks sitting here, but I had a son who's getting ready to go off to college. There's a time where you may have to change a tire. There's a time where you may have to know how to take care of the house, cut your own grass. These are things that your mom and I have, and we've worked for. You haven't earned these. So you may get your home one day, and it wouldn't look good on me because I haven't prepared him for the world.
Okay, looking back, prior to getting married, what could you have done differently? Could you have had conversations about parenting styles? Or did you have those conversations prior to getting married?
So let me first say this. Yes and no. But what I think is most single women raising boys, to no defense of their own, think they're doing a great job. For the most part, most of them are, but there's a few who aren't. And there are certain things that a woman, I won't say can't do, just can't do as well as a man. Like most women don't cut grass. That's just the reality. Most women don't go out.
But did you have this conversation before you guys got married?
So here's the thing. If you ask the woman about her child, we see him on the news every day. Oh, little Ray Ray's getting his life together. He was going to church. No, he's not. He's a criminal. Little Ray Ray was not. That's why he got his shot. So if you ask her, she's gonna say, oh, my son is XYZ, and in her mind, she thinks that because she's looking through the eyes of a mother. So yes, the questions was asked, but the reality of what it is and what they think are two different things, considering the answer you'll get back.
Sasha?
I just gave her my mic.
Okay, so no, we did not prepare because we were only thinking of ourselves. We were so in love, want to be together all the time. The sex was great, not thinking about the kids and what their needs were. So did we have the conversation? Absolutely not. Did I even ask him how he disciplined his children? Absolutely not. Even though he's saying I knew, we did not sit down and talk about it. I did not give my son an opportunity and Kevin an opportunity to get to know each other because I'm so in love, okay? So, and I tell everybody this, if I had to do it over again, I would not have done it. Because the hell that my son went through and the hell that my husband went through was absolutely wrong, and the blame was on me. We needed more time. My son needed to really understand this dude just coming in our household and all of a sudden you telling him what to do. You had not been in his life. And we met and married in the same year. So shame on Sasha's ass for not taking the time and asking the questions to make sure her son was okay and her husband to be was okay. So it fell on me.
I think that's absolutely true. And when you're talking about divorce, because that was the question, right? When you're talking about divorce, a lot of people have no clue as to why people really get divorced. A lot of people think, oh, it's the finances, and that's what you hear in all of the stories. But the truth is, it's unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations on each partner's side. And I think to what Sasha was saying, bad questions get bad answers. And when you don't ask the right questions up front, when you don't ask the right questions in a relationship or during an argument or during a disagreement, you tend to get really bad answers to those questions. And those unrealistic expectations start to surface in a way that it just keeps building, keeps building, and growing over time. And then what happens is there's a powder keg, and there's an explosion that happens, and it's like, how did we get here? We got here because of all of those things that we did not say over the course of time. So I think the good news is this: divorce is on the decline. Marriage is on the rise.
Awesome.
Contrary to popular belief and all those people talking about, marriage is working, and there's a lot of people that are working it very, very well, and a lot of people are getting engaged often. So divorce is it's here, but it ain't a thing as much as it used to be.
All right, guys, so when we come back, we'll continue the conversation on a blueprint to a healthy relationship.
Oh, this is chemistry.
Welcome back to CheMinistry. We're talking about a blueprint to a healthy relationship. So now, guys, we're going to pivot to Q&A. Does anyone in the audience have a question for any of our panelists?
A feminist professor at Rutgers University said to me that there's a lot of power in submission. So with you guys being in successful marriages for so long, what would you really define as submissive?
That's a pretty good question.
I've always considered myself an alpha male. I think I'm just a bad Oh my God, I said male. Alpha female. Thank you, honey. Thank you.
It's okay, boo.
Let's start over.
Let's start over.
We don't need any rumors out here.
She's tired.
I am.
Tired.
I'm gonna start that over. I've definitely always considered myself an alpha female. I've always thought I was pretty bad. I'm tough and I can handle things on my own. And my mom was a single mom who taught me a lot of stuff to how to handle things in life. But with Michael, and I agree with what Tasha said, you're not like that with everybody. It takes a certain man to let yourself and you let your guard down. And Michael was that man. I don't mind being submissive to my husband because I actually enjoy it. But it's in a way that is not like, I'm not like, yes, honey, whatever you want. I don't do that. I know kind of what you said. I know what he gives me. I know what he brings me. He loves making me happy. So I'm going to do everything I can to make him happy. And if it's kind of just giving myself to him completely, then I'm going to do it. And I have no problem with, I don't need to be a boss. Or I know what I am, and he knows what I am. So in our house, I don't mind being submissive to my husband.
So my question is, a lot of the couples talked about negative past experiences, childhood trauma, self-sabotaging. Has anyone sought out therapy, or would you recommend that to people that's in a marriage?
I got to tell you something. I guess I come from a different place because I don't take nothing from the past into what I'm dealing with. As a young child, I was molested. Do you think I was going to let that hold me down? I didn't do anything wrong. This person did something wrong to me. So why am I going to be over here just losing everything and not being able to move on in my life because of something that you did? You know what I'm saying? So I leave that baggage behind. I don't talk about no past relationship. I don't give a damn. I deal with the present.
For me, after my last marriage, I did go to counseling, and I can tell you, a lot of us, whether you're married or you're coming out of a relationship, I see a lot of people that are looking for closure, whatever that means to people. And as I look around the room, it's a lot of us in here, and I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. Our culture, we don't go to counseling. And I think most of y'all in here look like you're gainfully employed or very successful people. Take advantage of some of that free counseling and go, and you'll learn something about yourself.
Black culture has taught us to go to church and not to therapy. And I want to say this because it's very important, because what I've seen in a lot of couples, what I've seen in a lot of partners, now I do this by trade, but what I will tell you is that a lot of people need it, and not from the stance of because something has happened to you, but oftentimes you need it for maintenance. Maintenance is okay. You need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to referee for you to be able to understand, one, yourself, and then two, you got a whole job of trying to understand someone else's past, someone else's pain, someone else's issues, and bringing those things together. And I think it really helps when you have someone who can give you the tips, tools, strategies that ain't just the Holy Ghost. Shout it out, get it out, and you think it's okay, and then you go back home on Monday and you do the same things over and over again. So I think that you can, and it's okay to couple the two things together. I'm not saying you have one without the other, but I think that it's very imperative that we start to look at this and reframe it from a standpoint of our culture that, hey, it's okay to raise your hand for help. And I know sometimes it's one of the hardest things that we have to do because everything that happened in this house stays in this house. And that's not the way to do it and to think about therapy. Sometimes you need external help to be able to help you with some of your internal problems.
Absolutely. Okay, we have one more question.
So my question was actually in reference to therapy because I've been in a relationship for 33 years and we have our own separate traumas. So I have started therapy. The problem is that I can't really get him to open up to therapy because of the areas of where we constantly look at therapy as a weakness. And I'm just we've been together 33 years and we're very close, but we've had our issues and I feel like I'm just trying to get a little bit deeper than, we have been since we were 16 years old.
You got the wrong therapist. Oftentimes, it's tougher for men to open up.
Okay.
It's tougher. 95% of the time, counseling is initiated by women. Men just don't really talk about some of their issues naturally. So what I'm saying to you is, try to seek out somebody that your husband feels comfortable with, that gives him the audacity to feel like a man, because oftentimes if you got a woman, and I ain't bashing women therapists, but if you've already been seeing her and then he comes in, it seems as though he's being teamed up on. It's like, oh, you done told him all my business, all your business, and now I'm coming in to be the punching bag. So seek out somebody that he may feel a little more comfortable with and try to find a man, a black man, if possible.
All right. Thank you, Jack. All right, guys, I just want to thank everyone for participating on this panel. You guys did an amazing job. Guys, don't forget to purchase your copy of Relationships Matter. You can go to CheMinistry.com and get your copy. And if all hearts and minds are clear, let the church say,
Amen.
I just wanna be enough for you as I try to find the words inside my head that I need to say. I'll do anything, tell you everything for your energy. Oh, this is me.